Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Peter Switzer, of course, and I've always wanted to do something very unusual on the show, and we're going to do it right now. So over 12 months, the share price of MGM Wireless, or MWR, that's the ticker code, has gone from 45 cents to $1.45, but it has been as high as $2.19. Mark Fortunatow is the CEO and co-founder, and I've asked a professional fund manager, of course, Charlie Aiken, who you saw how professional he was in the first segment, to look at the company. I gave him short notice on this, by the way, just to help me grill Mark and try and work out the future for Mark's company. Mark, thanks for joining us in the program.
Thank you, Peter.
Sorry for doing this to you, but I think it's a good way of doing it. And Charlie, as I say, is a very professional fund manager. Before we go any further, just explain the product that this company is really based on at the moment.
Sure. Spacetalk is an all-in-one smartwatch, phone and GPS device. Yep. So it's for kids between the ages of 4 and 12, yep, and allows kids to make and receive phone calls and text messages from a list of contacts that only the parent sets up. Okay. So nobody external to that list can contact the child. And
it's like a GPS thing. They can also know where their kids are anytime.
Absolutely. They can, at a touch of a button, they can see where their kids are and they can see where they've been as well.
What's your experience in working with schools? Because this has to be a schools-friendly product, because otherwise the teachers say, no way, you're not wearing that to school.
Absolutely. Well, Peter, we're the company that invented the use of text messaging in schools, where parents get a text message if the child hasn't arrived. Now, when that happens, when as a parent you get a text message and your child hasn't arrived to school, the very next question you ask is, where are they?
Yeah.
So this is the problem we've been trying to solve.
Just a follow-up.
For over a decade now. And we tried various things, apps and various things, but 4 years ago, the penny dropped that why don't we build an all-in-one smartphone, watch and GPS device, so the parents can just touch a button on their phones and see exactly where their kids are and where they've been.
Okay, how many products have you sold to date?
We're approaching 3,000.
Okay, and now you're in JB Hi-Fi, is that right?
Absolutely. We're just about to be, JB Hi-Fi are about to go live online, and before Christmas, hopefully in the stores as well.
Okay. Now, Charlie, not only are you a professional fund manager, as the TV personality pointed out, you're also a parent of kids under the age of 10.
Right in this age bracket too, actually. I've got a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, both at school. I suppose in reading about the product, Mark, it's also, what interests me is what it can't do. That is actually probably more important than necessarily what it can do.
Yeah, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, the functions it cannot do.
Yeah, Charlie, you're absolutely right. So what it doesn't have is just as important as it does have. So it doesn't have social media. It doesn't have access to the internet. It has no apps and no YouTube. So it's a very responsible, safe device for parents to give to their younger kids.
The other thing I always think about is addressable market. So you're starting off in Australia, obviously, the Australian market. Is there any competition globally that's like this, or any product globally?
No. Well, there are the low-cost Chinese watches that don't work particularly well. They're not secure and they're not reliable.
Are they primarily GPS-type watches?
Yes, yes. They're not typically $40, $50, but they're insecure, and in some markets they've actually been banned because of their lack of security, in particularly Europe. Ours is a very reliable, secure, robust device It's got the highest quality. We've spent 4 years building it. And we really used all of the knowledge that we built up working with schools to be very reliable, secure and safe to be used. So as a parent, you can be absolutely confident that when you need to contact the child, it'll work.
So this is a smartwatch with a SIM card in it. And I pay one upfront payment for the watch of $300 odd.
Yeah,
is that right?
It's $349. And you have to get a SIM card. We've actually built it for the Telstra network because that is the highest quality, best coverage network, and that's important when you're looking after your kids. And there's an ongoing for a $5.99 fee for the app.
And so, I guess, Charlie, what I want you to explain to the viewers. See, we would listen to a story like this and it just seems so good. But as a fund manager, what other pieces of information do you need before you say, yeah, I think this has got upside? Do you need to see a Christmas sales period?
Sure. You think about competition, you think about barriers to entry, things that could imitate the product.
Yeah.
But, it's quite interesting, actually, because my wife and I do have young children, and how we addressed this situation before this product came along, and I probably will use this product, I'd say, is you give the kids an old iPhone or something. Well, that's not a great outcome. They can get onto the internet, they can get into anything, they can get into trouble. But that's the sort of solution at the moment. So in terms of being a parent with school-aged children, particularly in that vulnerable age under 12, GPS positioning, very limited functionality is really interesting to me. But then, as an investor, I've got to see a pathway to cash flow and profitability. And that really is about sales and the addressable market. I mean, this is a good idea. Don't get me wrong, this is a good idea. But
it's a bit like an episode of The Inventors here, isn't it?
It's great. It's a great idea. It's a tremendously good idea, in my view.
Well, Charlie, when we were designing and building the product, we actually, for 4 years, we were not really confident there would be a market for it. It's only when we released that we could see people are buying it and telling their friends, and it's growing and growing and growing. And then actually Gartner, the tech research firm, came out with some research showing that in their opinion, 30% of all smartwatches will go into this brand new kids category. That's a big number, and they as compared to the...
And that was Gartner, the research firm.
And look, wearable, fashionable tech is a huge growth industry, right? And even the 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds, they're quite fashion-aware, or whatever you want to call it.
Look, I'm wearing a Fitbit watch.
Well, I mean, yours doesn't work.
But you see...
Yes, it does. I did 30,000 steps yesterday.
But here we're talking about solving a real practical problem. Is staying in communication with your kids, keeping them safe, and it's the best option.
Okay, so Mark, I think you topped out around, what, 245 last year, and you've come back. What was... Obviously, as the owner of the business, you work out what the market's story was. What happened then?
Well, I think it's profit taking. I mean, we went from 35 cents to 240. You can't blame investors for taking a bit of profit. And perhaps too, I think there's so much excitement, and people, the market's so excited about the potential for the product. They want to see it explode, and I think it will, but it just takes time to get into the stores.
So, Charlie, do you think that the Christmas period coming up and the back-to-school period is going to be a really interesting test for the market?
This is actually really interesting, because I think, like, if you think about presents you could give your children for the the holiday season. It's a pretty good one. You're actually giving them a safety device, but they think it's a
and
a
you
tech
stay
device.
Connected with them as well.
It's not about.
It's like Parents Strike Back, isn't it?
It's great for grandparents too. We've had grandparents bought it because
the only problem is my wife might want to put one on me.
Which would be a pretty good idea.
You can do that with your phone now. You don't worry about that.
No, but look, the Christmas selling period is important to all retail, all products. But this one as a back-to-school sort of present could be a big one.
So I guess one of the key questions will be, how well could a company like yours respond to a big surge in demand?
Well, we make all of the technology is ours, but we get the watch made under contract in several factories in China. So we can increase our inventory at about 2 months' notice. Sorry, but right now we're building inventories up to fulfil some large quantities that we believe we'll achieve over Christmas.
That's one thing, and the other thing is, because there's not many apps running on it, or no apps running on it, the battery life would be good, wouldn't it?
Good question. When we designed the watch, we made sure that it would work going hard for at least the school day. Some recent improvements that we've developed, it will now run with at least 40 hours without a recharge. So it's pretty good. Yeah,
fantastic. So going forward, do you need to change the product in any way, or this is pretty well what it's going to look like, say, in a matter now of having a very good marketing program?
Exactly. We're doing a very good marketing program. We're booking all of our advertising for Christmas, back to school.
What would the advertising look like? Television advertising, online advertising? What's the program?
It's a combination of TV, advertising, perhaps event sponsorship as well. We're actually just planning it out at the moment. We've got a few agencies working.
It seems to me he'd be a takeover target as well, Charlie, wouldn't he?
Well, potentially every stock's a takeover stocks, but companies that are growing fast are generally attractive, Plus, balance sheet's in reasonable shape, you're funded well, So, look, I think, quite frankly, like it is a micro-cap company, though. We've got to put that in context at the moment. But I think the idea and the execution is excellent, is my view. So, look, I didn't necessarily look at this until, recently. But I think the idea is excellent.
So, going forward, is the plan to take this overseas, or prove the model here first?
Well, I think we've proven the model in Australia. So now it's ramping up to achieve really get to mass market sales. So Christmas and back to school are very important. We're backing that up with large inventories and a large spend on advertising. Financially, we're strong. MGM is actually two businesses. It's the watch business, which is all about growth, and it's the very stable, profitable, high cash generating school messaging business. So it's two in one. So it's really getting into that mass market in Australia, perhaps New Zealand as well, and then expanding out to Western, not necessarily English-speaking countries, but perhaps European countries as well. It's a big market for us.
It's as I say, it's an extraordinary story. I hope you guys can leverage off it and succeed. Thanks for coming on the program, Mark.
Thanks for having me, Peter.
And Charlie, just one last question before we go. You know, you are heavily exposed to China, and I continually get this question every time I do a conference that, you know, people are worried about the Chinese growth story. Is that a curveball issue that you worry about? Or not?
Well, I think, you know, I always worry about that, but I think the share prices in Hong Kong are completely detached from the reality of the economic reality at the moment. Chinese economy is expanding, continuing to grow. Chinese GDP, Chinese consumer spending, it's moving from more of a fixed asset to a consumer spending economy. Look, I don't actually have worries about that. I think share prices can detach from reality because of sentiment. I mean, when the President of the United States, you know, tweets every day about how he's going to thump China, it's unsurprising that the fundamentals and the share prices have detached, but they will reattach. And it may take some time, Pete, but I still think that the rise of Asia is the biggest story of the next 10 or 20 years and will continue to be.
I totally agree. Thanks for joining us on the show. So that's the show. If you've got any questions for me or ones you'd like me to put to an expert, email me at moneytalks@switzer.com.au or just follow me on Twitter, and the handle is @Peter Switzer. I'm Peter Switzer. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.